Marcus Mariota is, to me, a fascinating test case in what many of you are going to say, oh, Clay Travis, you have long been a Marcus Mariota true believer. That's true. But one thing that really upsets people, and I don't understand, I think maybe it's because my brain works really well and most people don't have as much frank intelligence as I do. I adjust my opinions all day long, every day. All day long, every day, I adjust my expectations based on the data and evidence that comes out. And Marcus Mariota has played now 4 full seasons. And he has not finished the season 3 of the 4 times. All right? 75% of Marcus Mariota's professional career, he has not been capable of finishing the season. Now, the first 2 of those times happened in year 1 and year 2. And also, then in year 4, this year, I thought he was going to be able to finish the biggest home game in 10 years in Nashville, Tennessee. Playoff spot on the line. Mariota practices on Thursday, and he practices on Friday. And then on Sunday, news suddenly breaks from national media that Marcus Mariota is not actually going to play. All right? I look at that, and I say, that is a strange story in and of itself. Okay? And I think it's really, really strange that when you break it down, Marcus Mariota was somehow able to practice on Thursday and Friday, and then he's not able to practice at all to play in the game. And I said something straightforward. Mariota made a business decision not to play in the game. And I'm sure that he's going to come out and he's going to say, doctors told me that I could make things worse by injuring myself, whatever else. If that is true, then he shouldn't have been playing the whole rest of the season, right? This guy had a chance to play to put his team into the playoffs and to play in the AFC, which is wide open, and give his team a chance to make a run potentially in the playoffs. And instead, he did not make the decision to play. That took me off of Team Mariota now. I think the decision the Titans have to make is very simple, very straightforward, no difficulty at all. All he has to do, the Titans, comes back for year 5. They pay him his 1-year option deal. If he stays healthy and he plays well, then you can franchise him or you can work on a multi-year deal if you're convinced he's the quarterback of the future. Up until the decision not to play, I was convinced he was the quarterback of the future. I don't now believe that he is the franchise quarterback anymore. I don't. Could I be wrong? Yes. But I don't believe in Marcus Mariota as the franchise quarterback of the Tennessee Titans anymore. Do you say that's cruel, unfair, all those things? You can certainly make that argument, but the NFL is a business. And ultimately, I am cold-hearted, and I look at the facts, and the facts tell me these. In 4 years, Marcus Mariota hasn't finished 3 of them as a healthy starting quarterback. How can you invest $20 million in years ahead on that quarterback if you don't believe he can stay healthy? He's won a playoff game. I think he can be very good, but I think his Achilles heel is going to be his health. He can be tough and fragile, right? You can be tough and be a good football player, but also be fragile and be injured more frequently than you should. Your body can fail you. The example I used was, look, I do radio every morning for 3 hours. I do radio every morning for 3 hours, and I'm pretty damn good at it. Do you know what would happen if 3 of the last 4 years I missed the last month of my job, calendar year-wise? I would get fired. And it might be because I suddenly got sick. It might be because I suddenly lost my voice. I would get fired because I'm in a business, and many of you are in the same business, where your labor is what you get paid for. You have to show up and perform or you lose your job. Marcus Mariota has to do that too. It's why I love the NFL. The NFL is the meritocracy of America, and it's also, you got to show up and make plays. You would get fired at your job if you suddenly couldn't work the final month of the year. Just about all of us could. And you definitely would get fired if you certainly couldn't work the last month of the year for 3 of the last 4 years. At least if you worked at a business that mattered in any way about actually being able to make a profit. And so I think Mariota, cold-hearted logic is he made a business decision. He was worried about getting hurt worse, and he decided not to play. And look, I'm sure it was a tough decision for him, but he left his teammates out there on the field without him. And I don't believe for a minute that the Titans made the decision for him. I think when you list a guy as questionable and he practices on Thursday and Friday and then he doesn't play, ultimately it's his decision. Maybe a smart decision. May have been the right decision. But ultimately in Nashville, this is seriously a city defined by Steve McNair. And there is a 0% chance that Steve McNair, in the exact same situation as Marcus Mariota, would have set this game out. Now, maybe you can say Steve McNair's crazy. Certainly he got murdered by his mistress. But Steve McNair would have played. And that's the toughness expectation that this franchise has when it comes to a big-time quarterback. And so I don't think it's that difficult. I don't think it's unfair. People are mad at me. Some of them are like, oh, I can't believe you have this opinion. No. You have to play if you can play. And if the Titans are saying that you can play on Thursday and Friday, and if you are listed as questionable, it means their doctors have said you can play. All right? Now, doctors have all sorts of different opinions. I don't know whether this is just because I'm a lawyer and I've worked in all sorts of plaintiff cases. You can find a doctor to tell you anything. All right? There are all sorts of quack doctors out there. If you have ever been involved in a legal proceeding, we'd have people who got bumped in a car going 10 miles an hour, and there would be doctors who would testify that they had major whiplash injury. This idea that all doctors have the same opinions or that one doctor is more pronounced in terms of his knowledge than others may or may not be true, but their opinions differ all the time. I think what happened was the Titans doctor said, we don't think you're going to worsen yourself anymore. I think Mariota went and got a second opinion, and that opinion was you might end up worse off. And as a result, Marcus Mariota chose not to play. Maybe he listened to the right doctor. Maybe he didn't. But the Titans would not have had him out on the field if he was in danger of paralysis throwing footballs on Thursday and Friday, and they wouldn't have ever listed him as questionable if a doctor was saying, hey, you could be paralyzed with one hit. By the way, you can get paralyzed with one hit on any football play. That's how the game works. So, look, Marcus Mariota made a business decision. I criticized him for it. I've jumped off the Team Mariota bandwagon. Not even jumped off the bandwagon. I've been the leader for the last 4 years. He's going to have to prove to me that he's quality, worthy of being a franchise quarterback, and he's going to have to prove it by playing an entire year and being spectacular next year. That's the standard. And he's done for me right now. Right now, my belief is this guy's got 1 year left, and then he's going to be done.